SimWorld presents Around the Table with E and the Fat Man.
What's up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I'm here with my man, E.E. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good. I'm always glad to be here with you, Bob, and talk a little bit of hoops, SimWorld, NBA, college, whatever level.
Whatever we feel like talking about on Around the Table.
That's
right. Around the Table is just me and E talking a little bit of everything. Tonight, what are we talking about today? We talked about recruiting a little bit last week before it started. Now it's started.
Yeah, recruiting the focus last week. We got some signings to talk about. They're going to continue to kind of roll in over the fall here, I think, and even some people moving around, and we'll talk about that. But, yeah, some big signings already happened. None bigger, I think, than Mikey Williams out of California, Southern California product, 6'2" guard, has announced that he is going to Best Coast.
Right.
In addition to the drama of would it be Best Coast, would it be Showtime, always the two most likely clubs for Mikey. It was just, would it be SimWorld at all?
Yeah.
A little bit of drama, some age verification issues going on there, but at the end of the day, he's with Best Coast. And here's the thing for me, Bob, is like, obviously a fantastic player. I don't know anybody who could reasonably have him out of a top 5 recruit kind of position. Thing is that I guess he can swing to the point a little bit more, but Mikey Williams to me feels very similar to one Lace Darius Outlaw. I think that they are similar players, similar positions. They overlap a little bit. Again, maybe Mikey swings a little bit more to run the show a little bit than you expect from LDO, although he's a good passer too. But, embarrassment of riches, I guess, for Best Coast. But we'll be interested to see how they work out, because the other thing, talking about Mikey getting minutes at the point, but Montel Cage is coming back for Best Coast too.
Yeah.
And, one of the top assist leaders in all SimWorld last year. So he's going to be out there. He's a leader of that team. Big move, big announcement so far, none bigger than the guard, Mikey Williams.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting thing is going to be, like you said, how are they going to fit together? And now they have 3 guards who they all, Lace Darius Outlaw and Mikey Williams, like you said, are very similar. Montel Cage brings something a little bit different. I think you have to find a way to get them all on the court. Off the top of my head, I can't remember just how big Lace Darius Outlaw was, but maybe we're going to see him running a little bit at the small forward position, and I think it might actually be better for him with his particular skill set to play at the small forward position. He won't have to have the ball in his hands as much, and I think that'll be a good thing for him, because last year near the end of the season, whether he was fighting that injury or not, I think him having the ball in his hand as much, having to be the playmaker, trying to find his team, he wasn't a good facilitator. I think having these 2 guys there who will be able to facilitate, take a little bit of load off of him, is going to be really good for Best Coast as a whole.
Yep, and this is a little bit bigger, and I thought about that too when I was looking at this for the show. And, I could see him swinging to like sort of that 3rd guard spot in a 3-guard offense. I mean, for whatever reason, to kind of, cap it in traditionalist basketball terms, I have a hard time seeing LDO as a small forward. Yeah. But but a 3-guard lineup out there,
that's the way the world.
I see that at times, and that is the way the world works.
So it's where it's going nowadays.
Yeah. Well, speaking of where things are going, I think you got one here with somebody going out of Queen City territory, moving abroad too. Another big name.
Yeah, Jamichael Guzman, the 6'8", 200-pound big, I guess. I mean, to me, 6'8's not technically a big in basketball terms, but we are talking about high school kids, so 6'8".
We are.
But again, the way that the world's kind of going, 6'8 is what I guess the big, the cool, the small ball, the big small ball. So Guzman's heading down to the yacht club. He's going to be paired up with Dominic Bianco, who he was the star of the yacht club last year.
And is still going to be this year, one of them, for sure, one of the stars in the league, I think, Bianco. So interesting to see him team up with a more inside talent like Guzman.
What'll be interesting as well is seeing what is yacht club going to do about the coaching position. Whenever Coach Chad Smith came in, something changed about the team, whether it was their demeanor or just their effort as a whole. They had somebody who cared about them and was really pushing them. He's gone now. How is Yacht Club going to handle him being gone? Could we see kind of how Mike Tyson when he had Cuz, and then Cuz left, and he just fell apart. He didn't have that guy leading him anymore. He just had all these people that seemed this ball of money that they could just shove up into the air, and nobody cared about him. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do down there in the yacht club this season. I know you got another one that you wanted to talk about a little bit.
Well, it's already been seen in our Discord. And a reminder, everybody, please get on our Discord and participate on there. We love to get more voices involved. But Macklin Mighty, 6'3", 16-year-old talented kid who can create his own shot from outside, has decommitted from Philadelphia, getting out of Philly, heading a little bit south of there, going to RunDMV, which is an interesting move with the decommit there. See what is brewing down in the nation's capital, where they've already got big man VJ George, who I've seen a little bit in some pickup games, and also guard Brandon Smith returning. So, good little core kind of being assembled there once again in DC for RunDMV this year. And also, rumor has it that Khalil Erickson's father actually reached out to RunDMV to talk about him maybe returning there. So, Erickson leaving in the offseason, headline-grabbing move at the time, but maybe at the end of the day, best thing for him, best thing for them is just to return to the fold, and they've got a new weapon now, Macklin Mighty. A lot of people, again, just 16-year-old, but a lot of people expecting a lot from him this year. Not saying he's going to be a, Cooper Kingy Cross kind of instant replacement, but can fill it up from outside, maybe put in even 20 plus a year is what some people have been projected for. So big loss for Philly, big gain for DC. And maybe that'll kick off a little bit of a rivalry between those two schools. I'm sorry, not schools.
Close enough.
Two programs.
And it's not going to be the end for RunDMV either. I mean, we still have CKC's brother hanging around out there, Donkey Kong. DKC, that's right. Have him hanging around still. So it'll be really interesting to see what Coach Murray can do with RunDMV this year. I mean, he's a great recruiter. We have a couple of great recruiting coaches out there. It'll just be interesting to see with the turnover of the stars, which one is going to end up on top. One that'll be really interesting, and it's another one that you kind of seen on Discord, if anybody does pay attention to that. Owen Pride, the 6'7", big-ish, again, for the Bad Boys basketball. He and Lorenzo Phenom got into it a little bit after he committed. I think it might have been their first practice together. I don't know. Owen Pride, he just wanted to prove that maybe he thinks he's the big man. He's going to have, it's a rude awakening for him because he's probably, I don't know, 4th on that list, 5th on that list. I don't even know if he is top 5 on that team right now. When you have Lorenzo Phenom, Pagnotti Jr.
Cash Money Ruffin.
Cash Ruffin, everybody. So it'll just be real interesting to see how, if him and Lorenzo Phenom can work together after this. I would assume they're going to be able to.
I actually think that Lorenzo is going to love this kid by the end of the season. Got off the worst possible way, but you talking about Owen Pride being a big star on this team, and I can't see that only because to really kind of get the recognition, you got to score points. I mean, he's not going to score in double digits for this team. I can't see that coming off the bench, even if he starts. I don't know, but can't see him doing that. But what he is, he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy to his core. He's tough. He's a good post defender. And I think, Lorenzo Phenom, and I've heard he's, getting taller too. He played 6'9" last year, at least going to play 6'10" this year, moving on up that way. I think he's going to really like having him as a teammate to play against, or to play with, as opposed to against in practice all year long.
Oh, absolutely. And I fully expect that Pride probably is going to find his way into that starting lineup. He'll probably be playing down low with Phenom. He's the second biggest kid on the team at 6'7". So I fully expect that he's going to have to swallow his pride and figure out how this is going to work. But I think that's enough of the players that have committed. There are still some big names out there that have not committed yet. I think personally the biggest name is DJ Wagner, but we'll save him for the end.
We got to close strong.
Yeah, we're going to close strong with him. So we'll start with the weak stuff, the James brothers. So we got Bronny.
Knew that was coming.
Bronny and Bryce are still out there. What do you think? Do you think that Showtime, do they want that? I'm just going to call it as it is. That circus around their program after what they went through last year of not being able to live up to expectations. Do the players want them? I believe that there was actually a tweet that came out not too long before we went to start about how the players were feeling about that. And
that's right, just anonymous players. Nobody signed their name to it, but anonymous players.
Yeah, no, the anonymous players coming out, they're not really happy if Bronny and Bryce were to play for them, just because obviously anytime somebody joins, you have to worry about your playing time, which I think that's just not. I don't think that's a good complaint personally. But the unrealistic higher expectations that these anonymous players also came out of, listen, that's just something that when you play in LA, that's something that you have to deal with. If you can't deal with the higher expectations because of two other players that are going to be coming in, LA and New York, I mean, those are the media. That's like media central.
It brings something else to it. That's right. You gotta kind of want that, and I think those programs kind of have to be built in that way in terms of bringing in kids that want that kind of attention and thrive on it. And Bronny and Bryce, big names. If you're playing with them, if you're starting over them, then you get a story.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: no matter what, good or bad, they're going to be in the headlines. I don't know if you heard about Bronny's last game that had to be called off near the end of it because of some. What did they call it? Some crowd disruption or something?
Disturbance.
The crowd disturbance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That comes with the territory too.
That comes with it. I mean, you got them packed stadiums. Packed stadiums. I mean, they're playing in high school, so they're the packed little gyms. So things are going to get a little bit heated because, trust me, having played football and stayed to watch basketball games, those things get pretty hot. I want to start throwing those a little bit whenever I'm in them stands for no reason at all.
Good stuff. Well, moving on, there's somebody out there who's becoming one of my pet cats, and that's Japhett Towns, 6'6" out of Montana. Montana is having a golden age of basketball talent per capita right now. DJ Childs, Japhett Towns. Xavier Young, by the way, if you remember him from last year, moved on to the college ranks now, but also a Montanan. But anyway, Japhett might, and we know how good DJ is, but Japhett might be better than all of these guys. 6'6", like I said, just 16, still not committed. Rocky Mountain Monsters makes a lot of sense for him, and join up with the Gaffneys. I think that would just make a really solid three-man core for that team, which I think from top to bottom actually has a nice roster coming in this year. But he's one that I'm waiting on too. As we saw with DJ, who went to the team then called Pacific Northwest, Montana kids have options once every now and then when they come along like this. Again, back-to-back's insane, but hey, that's the way cookie crumbles. Rocky Mountain's in play. Look, best coast could be in play, right? Anywhere out west makes some geographic sense. So, Japhett, I'm waiting on him. Like I said, I think Rocky Mountain's the leader, but it's why it's recruiting season. Let's see what these coaches do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you probably named, I don't know if we could name players that were born in Montana. The only one that I could really think of, I mean, I didn't even think of it. I had to Google it. Adam Morrison.
I think Phil Jackson. I think Phil Jackson's your other one, and he did play before he coached. So,
hey, then player coaches are sometimes the best.
Yeah, that's right.
But
that's right.
I think the last one that we can talk about, he's still hanging around there, and I love the big men. As most people will see, a favorite player, Shaq. I think the big men get a bad rap nowadays because they're going extinct like the running back is in the NFL, and I don't like it. But Aaron Lovejoy is still hanging out around there. He's from Utica. He's from New York.
Beautiful upstate New York, yes.
He's from New York. He's kind of just, I don't know, but we haven't heard too much about him. He's been in some pickup games and stuff like that. He's not really actually, a lot of these kids aren't really making their recruitments public or anything like that, but he's got to be a target for Gotham 5 because of what they did with SJO and CMJ last season. Because let's be honest, if anybody had really done some research, those two players weren't really thought of too highly. Heading into last season and under Coach Bellardi, they just exploded.
They did.
The North lost Tyson Simpson. Beasts of the East, they lost Jameson Johnson. They need to replace him. He's a really good defender, and I think he is somebody that these three teams really need to take a look at And I'm not sure when he's going to commit or anything like that. He hasn't made any kind of announcements, but he's a really good big that everybody needs to be looking at in the Northeast. Anyways.
Yep, he's super savvy. He's silky. I really like his game. What I've seen of him, just sees the court. Yeah, he just sees the court really, really well and plays smart and like him. So, those two kids, Towns and Lovejoy, let's see where they land because they have options. Now, there are a couple other people out there that still have options. Some interesting team-to-team moves. Khalil Erickson, we already talked about him. Dramatically having left RunDMV, only maybe to come full circle. A little bit of that story left to be told. But another one we had come up just this week, and that's Anton Benet of the North, who has left the North, much like Tyson Simpson. Now, this leaves me with two sort of comments, or a comment and a question. And my comment, not to be mean to Anton Benet, but my memory of watching him in SimWorld games I broadcast and watched last year was meh. I just didn't get anything really out of him necessarily. Don't remember a whole lot of moments about it. That's kind of what I remembered him for, actually. But look, that leads to my other question, which is that maybe people should be asking questions about the North. Is there something with that franchise, that coach? Marcus Leifat, is he, what's going on there? Maybe we'll get some comments there on that. But Anton Benet also club shopping out there, just like Khalil Erickson.
And I think what I've seen, at least from Coach, I don't know why I keep wanting to say Smith, because it's not Smith. It's Chris King. They both their first names start with a C. Chad Smith, Chris King. So Coach King up there, I think he runs a little bit of a tighter ship, and he's not just going to let these kids walk around and say and do whatever they want. There's going to be some consequences from their actions, and some kids just aren't ready for that. But they need to be.
maybe he thinks he's going to have a spot open for Aaron Lovejoy too now. With there you go. That would be a big ad for anybody. But let's get on the last one. Let's turn it over to the biggest name we haven't talked about. You got to talk about closing the show with him, DJ Wagner. Of the multi-generational basketball lineage that he comes from,
potential first, third generation player.
Yeah, that's right. And he's from New Jersey. He actually has connections to there and everything. It'd be unfair to say that he doesn't have some kind of local ties, but at the same time, I think he could almost go anywhere. He could go to SW Atlantis if he felt like it.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any kind of crystal ball pick for where he may go?
I don't. I think that he fits in anywhere, that no matter where he goes, he's probably going to star immediately. I do think he is going to stay closer to home, though. I think the Northeast is where we're going to see him stay. So pretty much anywhere, I would say, from the Beast of the East and up to the Originators. I don't think there's anybody more north than the Originators. I'm trying to think of where the North is compared to the Originators. I love history, but I wasn't good at geography.
That's right. But I'm going to close things by saying that, for me, I think he's going to end up G5. I think he thinks he can step into that Che King role.
Yeah.
And I think he wants and would enjoy that spotlight. I know Coach Bellardi would love to coach him, and I'm sure he's going to be in touch with him. And that's just kind of my gut feeling. No inside info, but I could see DJ playing in the Big Apple.
Yeah, no, and I think it would be a good fit for him. I think there's a couple good fits for him. I think the best fits, at least in my opinion, I guess I'll give a top 4. We have Gotham 5, RunDMV, the North, and the Originators, all teams that I mentioned. Just because I think he has a really good fit. Him and Marcus Leifat would be probably immediately be the top backcourt in SimWorld Hoops. I think him coming in to Gotham 5, I mean, just to see what Coach Bellardi did with all of those kids last year. I mean, there were 5. It felt like there was 5 stars, five superstars on that team. But what he did with Che King, Jai Edge, the bigs, I think with what Coach Murray did with CKC last season, CKC was not that highly touted coming into the season. He kind of came out of nowhere.
That's right.
I think Brandon Smith may have been the one that was expected to do more for that team, and out of nowhere you have this kid scoring 7,000 points a game, all thanks to the way that Coach Murray built his team together. I also do think, again, that the Originators would be a good fit as well. I think they have a very underrated guard in Eric Nelson, and he was fifth, I believe, fifth in assists last season. And I think having Eric Nelson being able to facilitate that offense and having DJ Wagner, and hopefully, at least in the last pickup game, a growing Kevin Sullivan, who last season, he was benched last season. He did not get, there were a couple games where he got 0 playing time because of the way he had been playing. But he really, he seems like he's coming into his own and putting the work. So I think those 4 teams, I'll be shocked if he goes anywhere else. I think probably Gotham 5, like you said, I think Gotham 5 is probably the most likely landing spot just because distance, how good that they played last season. They were the only team that I think that didn't have double-digit losses. So yeah, you can't go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those picks, but Gotham 5 seems like the likely landing spot.
I like it. Well, I think this is a pretty good ending spot for our show this week, Bob. But it is always a pleasure to talk to you and talk a little SimWorld, and especially for all the new folks who come in. Hope you're tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. And like I said, please reach out to us. Yeah, even me and Bob personally. We're on there. We're on Discord. That's where a lot of the action is happening and a lot more announcements about what coaches and soon-to-be players can do there soon.
Yeah, check us out. SimWorld on Discord, SimWorld on YouTube. Check us out. Follow us. Like, comment, subscribe. Can we do that yet? I don't even... But I appreciate you guys listening to us. I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend.
Later, folks.